it's Michelle from the Scattered Scrapper. Welcome to my channel. It's Monday, so it's day 3 of Scrap-O-WEEN, and it's time for Sketchy Monday. Today I'm going to use this page maps sketch from October of 2018, this one here, to scrapbook this picture of my daughters in front of the Spirit store from last year. So I'm going to be using some products from Cartabella's Halloween market from last year. I think it's when it came out. And I have a few things picked out and some things I'm not real sure of, but we'll get it figured. So let's get started. The first thing I'm gonna do is cut my background into 12 by 12. But what I discover is that the paper is not a true 12 by 12. It's just a little off, but it's not enough to be bothersome. I just got that out of a paper pad that I got last year. Don't remember exactly which one. But now I'm going to look to see how I want, or which side of the paper I'm wanting to use for which part of my sketch. I know I want to use both sides of this paper. I love this orange with the skull and crossbones. And so I'm going to use it for the element that's to the right side of the picture in the sketch. And of course, as per usual, my first cut is always wrong. For some reason, when I first start a project, that first cut, it's always going to be wrong. So I get this figured out exactly where I want to trim it up. And I know I'm going to be using a punch. So I've left some room on the side to use my punch. And this is the punch that I planned to use. And I start in the center and then work my way from all the way from one side and then all the way to the other side. Now, if this were longer, I would go all the way down to the one side and then go back and start in the middle again and line it up and go all the way to the other. And I have found that to be the easiest way to make sure it lines up. Okay, so now I'm going to put that here. And with this particular layout, I was trying to figure out exactly how I wanted things to go. If the print of this one was a little bit smaller, I think it would have helped a little bit more, because I really wanted the icons on the paper to show up. I wanted to really see those different elements that were in the paper. And here, this one is going to be the striped piece, exactly like what's in the sketch. Just happen to have a black and white stripe. If you're doing Halloween, you have to have a black and white stripe. And then this one is just a bunch of little Halloween candies. It's so cute. And I'm going to put it up underneath here. And I struggle a little bit with really figuring out exactly where I want everything. And you'll see me probably tap my fingers, and I keep, yep, there we go, tapping the fingers, and what am I going to do? Excuse me. And I pick out this piece of vellum to back my picture with, and I really like how this photo mat of the vellum gives just like this really soft, ghostly, you might say, feel. And I love how it shows up on the black background. So I'm going to get that situated. And since my photo is a 4 by 6, I just cut my photo map, 4 1/4 and 6 1/4. Now here I'm trimming this piece of paper that goes on the bottom so that I can move it over a little bit and still have some of these icons showing, even as I move everything around. And I kind of move things down just a little bit, kind of down and then spread out some compared to my sketch. And this is another thing I'm trying to accommodate. I have a really long title. It's called The Spooks Are Back in Town. And so I'm going to bring that over several times and see how I want it to fit. And here I've decided I like where my placement is for all the papers, so I'm going to go ahead and glue those down. Just going to start gluing down and committing. And in this case, I'm going top down because I kind of know how I want the papers to sit. And so the easiest way for me to make sure they stay where I want them is to go from the top down. Especially since I've kind of cut some things in half and I moved stuff around a little bit. See here, I can adjust and see where I want it to go. And I can make sure that the little pictures of things can show, or you can still see them. And even though I'm just using a little bit of glue, once I glue it down to the black page, it won't move because I will put a whole lot of adhesive on the back, probably more than I should. It's a good thing I put it down exactly where I wanted it, because really after all of this tape, that's not coming up very easy. So I'm going to move that from the center a little bit because I need room to place my big long title. Let's see. And now I'm going through the die cuts and I'm looking for some things like cluster bases to start my little clusters, because where the leaves are on my sketch, I really like the placement and I kind of want to copy that. Part of my problem is that my big title is in the way of that row of leaves, so I'm not going to be able to embellish there, but I think my title kind of takes the place of that big embellishment of leaves on the sketch. So here I'm placing spooks there on the black so you can really see it, and then I at first had the stacked on top of each other, but that didn't really fit. And then this took me a long time, so I cut out a lot of putting the title down. But now everything is situated, and I'm just going to put this little tag up here in the upper right corner, like in the sketch, and then trim it down. And I will come back to that again later. So now I'm going to decide where to put my clusters. And so I gave up on finding cluster bases and figured I would just go ahead and start with my big elements and figure out where I want to put them. And so I put the big sparkle pumpkin on the bottom left, and I put the bat up there. That looks really cute. And the bat is going to go in the bottom. But first, let me try this other little jack-o'-lantern. No, I didn't like him there. Part of the problem is that he was cut out and I didn't back it. So then I'm like struggling to find where can I put this so that it doesn't look weird. So I decide, oh, I can stick it here. He can have candy in his mouth. And he can have little glowing orange eyes. And then I've got these little asterisk looking things from, some alpha that I had. And these ghosts, look how adorable. I love these little ghosts. I need to cut out a ton of them. I just used a Tim Holtz die that I got, and I cut them out of that same kind of vellum paper, and they are so adorable. And here I'm sticking some little words that I got from the Tim Holtz Halloween words, I think from last year that came out. And I got words that were related to the store. Like this one says apothecary, and how cute is that it goes right on top of those bottles. I think another one says, I can't remember what they say, and it's too small for me to see it. Okay, so now I'm going to put these little enamel dots. And I like the yellow color. It kind of brings it around. But I don't like how that looks. So I'm going to take those off. And I still haven't figured out how I'm going to attach my little ghosts. So I'm thinking about that. And that's me thinking. So I get some Zots. And I'm going to cut me a little piece of this vellum paper and put a Zot on it to see what it looks like. Now, if my background was white, this would be pretty good. It kind of blends in with the white. I mean, you can still see a little bit, but with the white, it's not quite so bad. I'm going to get that piece of black paper, or the black branding strip, and stick it on there. And I'm also going to use 2 other small pieces and use some other glue. Now, while I'm waiting for the glue to dry, I used the Scotch Create tacky glue and I used the art glitter glue to see what they would look like when they dry on a black background underneath the vellum. So I'm waiting for that to dry, and I'm thinking I'll put the date in this tab up at the top. So right now I'm looking for something to write my date on, or somehow to embellish my tab up at the top. And I figure out everything's just too big. I don't really want to cover up the little jack-o'-lanterns. I think they're very cute. And look here, I'm so bad at using this thing. I could have trimmed that so much differently and turned out better, but I'll just use scissors. I should have done that in the first place. So I'm just going to cut me a very narrow strip out of this black and white stripe. And I'm going to put a little fishtail to it. And see, that's perfect. It doesn't cover up all of my jack-o'-lanterns. And it's just enough room to be able to write my date. And I'm not going to put a bunch of journaling on this one because it goes into the album along with a lot of other pictures that I took from this trip to Spirit Store. It was the first trip to the Spirit Store for us for that season, and it's actually in September. They opened up early in our area last year, and so we went. Usually that's the first thing we do. That's like our first big thing, that Halloween is here, our trip to the Spirit Store. Here I'm just trying to find something to decorate this tab with. And nothing's working for me, so I decide I'm just going to glue it down and write my date, and that's going to do it. I think it looks fine just like that. And of course I drop it. But wonder of wonders, it fell with the glue side up and not down. Now let that be a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and you know it would be down on the floor, jelly side down. Or peanut butter side down. Okay, so here is my experiment. All the glues is very noticeable. If you know of a glue, please let me know down in the comments. I decided to just use the Zots because it was very uniform and it can kind of look like a ghosty belly button. So there, you can see it there, but I don't know. I think it's kind of cute since it's just this little uniform round dot. So it just looks like a belly button on the ghost. And now that's going to do it. I'm going to lift it up for you to see. And I hope you like this video. If you've enjoyed it, please give it a like. Please subscribe. And please be here again tomorrow for Trick or Treat Tuesday. And I'll see you then. Bye-bye.